a cup of alcohol, 4 joints in the car, and no driver's license. Those are just some of the reasons Detroit's top cop thinks a traffic stop of the City Council President Pro Tem should have been more thoroughly investigated.
7 Action News investigator Heather Cataldo joins us right now. Heather, can charges be filed at this point against George Cushingberry?
Well, it doesn't look like it. New details are emerging today about the traffic stop that everyone's talking about. Police Chief James Craig says the evidence that could have been used to charge Cushingberry is gone, and it was a police sergeant who let the proof just drive away.
No one gets a free pass.
That's Detroit Police Chief James Craig's message to the city after learning that one of his sergeants let the City Council President Pro Tem drive away after a traffic stop earlier this month. 2 officers stopped George Cushingberry Jr. after he cut them off while leaving the Penthouse Lounge on Detroit's west side. His passenger was his friend Richard Clement, a medical marijuana user who also works for the councilman. Chief Craig says Cushingberry tried to drive away from his officers as they approached his vehicle, and he tried a second time to turn on the car when they asked for his license. But Cushingberry never handed over that driver's license. Instead, it seems, he tried to throw his weight around.
He initiated by indicating that I'm a council. He was showing his ID, and just at the point of contact, very little cooperation with the police officers.
The officers immediately called for backup and a supervisor. The chief says now they know that in addition to an empty liquor bottle in the car, officers also saw a cup half filled with alcohol on the passenger side, as well as a smoked joint in the car's center console. Craig says Clement had 3 other marijuana cigarettes on him that night.
One joint, he looked at it, and I thought they took it. But I looked at, hey, he gave it back.
No driver's license was shown, no proof of insurance, and factually, his vehicle registration was expired by 1 day.
Despite all that, the chief says once the sergeant arrived on the scene, he told most of the officers to leave, and he decided not to do any field sobriety tests.
When you look at the public safety issues, when you look at the violations, it tends to suggest that the councilman was given preferential treatment. It was a supervisor's decision.
Now that supervisor is facing discipline.
No comment.
As for Cushingberry, he's been refusing to talk to us about this or his legal troubles with a probate case and his pending law license suspension.
The chief stressing today all of the 6 responding officers did the right thing. It's only the sergeant who's facing the discipline, which has not been finalized yet. The chief also saying that even if Cushingberry's passenger is allowed to use medical marijuana, it cannot be out in the open inside a vehicle like that. It has to be transported in the trunk of the car. Cushingberry's lawyer is telling me he's glad the police are not pursuing charges against his client, but this is not over yet. The city's inspector general is still working on his investigation into this incident. Stephen?